The most common way of controlling access to computers is using passwords. But this often fails because users don't take enough care when selecting passwords. Many systems enforce password construction rules, such as a mix of uppercase and lowercase letters plus numerics. And even so, the results will often be spectacularly bad. In fact, the still common practice of complex passwords was debunked in 2017 after the person who created the rules admitted they cause more problems than they solve. The best way to educate organizations on the importance of password strength is to demonstrate how easy it is for an adversary to recover them. A hacker will gain unauthorized access into a system and then copy the password file to their own system to subsequently run password recovery tools on it. Once they retrieve passwords, they have valid credentials to use for access, which, of course, the system thinks are authorized. Passwords are not stored in plain text on a system because that would make it just too easy for them to be exposed. Instead, they're stored using a one-way hash algorithm, such that the hash is related uniquely to a password and easy to create, but it's impossible to reverse the algorithm and recover the password from the hash. There are three main ways to recover a password from a hash, however. Trying every possible combination of letters, numbers, and symbols until one matches. Using a technique called rainbow tables in which every possible hash is created, and using a fast-searching algorithm to match the hash and using a dictionary of plain text passwords to see if one matches. First of all, let's take a look at the Applications menu and password attacks in Kali. Here we see four submenus: offline attacks, online attacks, passing the hash tools, and password profiling and lists. Each of the submenus contains a set of tools specific to the submenu topic. The offline attacks menu provides a set of tools to recover passwords from files that have been extracted from their host systems, although some are used directly on the host. The online attacks are used to try to directly enter a system online. Passing the hash is a method of using a hash to gain access to a system without recovering the related password. Password profiling and wordless provide the tools and dictionaries for attacking password hashes. Dictionary attacks are much faster than brute force, and having access to a good word list is important. Let's have a look at the word lists entry at the bottom. We can see that there are a number of links to word lists for various tools, plus an archive called rocku.txt.jgz. This contains a useful general-purpose password file, so I'll extract it and list some of the contents. Okay, there's a lot of candidate passwords in that file. This directory also contains a link to the mmap list file, which is a short set of words used by a map for its dictionary searching. We can check the number of entries. We can see that it has just over 5,000 lines. Let's look at this. There's a lot of comments, and then we get to the words themselves. These are in order of the most commonly found password, and we can see 123456 is up there at the top, with password not so far behind. Let's look at the contents of the Metasploit directory. Here we can see the files used by Metasploit when it's doing dictionary tests. As well as default usernames and passwords, we can see special purpose lists for applications such as Joomla, SAP, Oracle, and so on. Kali provides a number of command-line password dictionary tools. Let's look at three of them. We'll start with a tool called Crunch. Crunch is a tool to generate simple dictionaries using a syntax template. It allows dictionary words of specified length to be created using options to specify their construction. The full instructions can be accessed as shown, but for the moment, all we need to know is that we can use the percent sign to generate numbers and the @ sign to generate characters. Okay, let's generate the set of dictionary words, password 01 to password 99, by entering crunch 1010 t password %%. We can use the -o option to save the dictionary we have created. I'll generate all 6-character lowercase passwords starting with pass and save it to a file pass.txt. Let's have a look at some indistinct. The next tool I want to look at is called rsmangler. rsmangler is designed to read a simple dictionary file and provide for a wide range of permutations to be applied to generate a richer dictionary. rsmangler has a range of options, and it's worth noting that these options are to turn off generation components, not to select them. By default, all mangling options are on. I'll use Nano to enter a simple set of 2 passwords and store them in a file called easypass.exe. I'll run rsmangler with most of its options turned off, and I'll put the resulting list into a file called goodpass.ext. Let's now look at goodpass.ext using Nano. Okay, we can see a good range of variations on the 2 themes. The final command line tool we'll look at is CWL. CWL is the custom word list generator and is used to extract words from a website in order to create a dictionary for password cracking. It can also be used to extract email addresses to use as usernames when testing web applications. Let's run that on my Metasploitable system, which has an IP address of 10.0.2.8 and runs a simple website. I'll output the dictionary as meta text, and I'll analyze the website to 3 levels of depth. Okay, that's finished now. Let's have a look at the resulting dictionary. We can see that there's a lot of unlikely passwords, but remember that it's much easier recovering a password from a dictionary, even if it has a lot of poor passwords, than it is to brute force it. And anyway, an unlikely password is a good password, right? Creating a website-derived custom dictionary can be useful when testing a target because the website will often reflect the internal terminology of the site and may even contain embedded credentials. John the Ripper is a popular password recovery tool which is included in Kaylee. It runs on the command line or through Johnny, which provides a graphical front end to its extraction engine. Let's see how we use John the Ripper to crack passwords on Linux. I'll select John from the Password Attack menu. This will open the terminal window and show the help file. Let's use John the Ripper on the Kali password hash file. This is stored in the /etc directory as a file called shadow. I'll copy the contents of the shadow password file by entering sudo cp/etc/shadowlinehash_toy_xt. And let's look at that now. There's lots of entries here, including one for the user Kaylee. Let's see what John the Ripper makes of this file, and we'll save our crack passwords in crack.txt. That quickly executes and displays the recovered password for Kaylee, which is Kaylee. We can see this in our safe password file. I can also use the ---- show option to look at recovered passwords. Okay, let's add a couple of new user accounts. I'll add George with a password of big secret, but in hacker form. I'll add friends with a password of password1. Now let's see what John can do. I'll copy the shadow file again. Let's rerun the attack. The Kaylee account doesn't get cracked again. The attack's been going a while, and Franz's password has been cracked and is shown. George is giving John the Ripper a bit more of a problem. It's still trying to recover it, but we'll leave it there and move on. John, the Ripper can crack Windows password hash files, which is useful. Should they be retrieved remotely into Carly, getting Windows password hashes is not as easy in Windows 10 as it was in Linux systems and earlier versions of Windows. But it's possible. A simple way to get hold of Windows password hashes is to use the Hash Suite tool. Hash suites can be downloaded from the open wall site shown here. There's a free version, unreasonably priced standard, and pro versions. Also, I've already downloaded Hash Suite, so let's grab the password hashes from my Windows 10 system to do this. We select the Keys tab at the top left and select Import. We can then select Local Accounts in the main screen. We can see some grayed out accounts. We need to select the main keys icon and select NTLM, and we can now see the rest of the accounts and their hashes back in the Keys tab. We can now select Export and select the PW dump format. I'll call this WinHashDoText and save it in my VirtualBox shared folder. Hash Suite also displays the password hashes back in Carly. I'll check my shared folder for WinHash, the file's there, so we can now run John the Ripper against it. John has a number of modes of password cracking. The fastest is the dictionary attack, and I'll set that as the attack type. We'll tell John that these are Windows hashes by setting the format to NT, and we'll use the Rocky Do text word list that we extracted earlier, rather than John's built-in dictionary. We can see that John has recovered some of the camp passwords with the recovered passwords. An adversary now can have ongoing access through the target's legitimate access mechanism, and may well be able to access other systems on the same network using these credentials. We don't have to use John. However, as Hash Suite can do its own cracking. Hash Suite has a number of ways of cracking passwords. The default is charset, which we can see on the main tab is checked. If we go to the Paras tab, we can see the type of characters and the length of password to try. The free version is limited to 6 characters. I won't run this as it takes a while. And we have a dictionary option we can use instead, back in the main tab. If we want to try a dictionary attack, we can check the word list checkbox, and in the params, T, we can set the word list. We want to use how Suite has a couple of word lists, but I've copied over the Carly Rocky dot text word list, and I'll use that. I can now start the attack. We can see that Hash Suite successfully finds 4 of the passwords, but George has defeated the attack. Once again, there's a lot more to Hash Tweet for you to experiment with, and it's a great companion tool to Carly when you're working on Windows targets.